A pale violet dawn crept across the barren plains of Archer, shifting the dunes from silver gray to a rose-tinted glow. Dr. Alara Miles paused at the lip of a wind-scoured trench, her boots resting on centuries-old rock. Each step of her hoverbot, Rookie, stirred up granular dust that caught the light like tiny stars. The monolithic slab ahead rose nearly 10 meters high, its surface carved with looping glyphs that pulsed faintly as if still alive with ancient power. Alara's heart pounded. This was the find every Zen archaeologist dreams of. With gloved fingers, she traced the spiraling symbols. Unlike the fractured ruins she'd cataloged before, these inscriptions were nearly intact, preserved beneath centuries of desert storms. Rookie's scanning beam swept over the slab, projecting a holographic overlay of the glyphs into the air. The translation module hummed, then delivered its rendering in Alara's ear. "Beware the children of Terra. They bring oblivion." Her breath caught. Terra was spoken of here, on a world light years from the cradle of humanity. She knelt to examine the base of the monolith where a second smaller glyph lay, a circle intersected by 3 radial lines. Instinctively, she compared it to known star charts stored in her neural implant. Her eyes widened as the pattern aligned perfectly with a cluster in the Theta Quadrant, precisely where the United Galactic Survey's experimental quantum drive stations were slated to come online next month. A tremor rippled through the ground, snapping Alara to her feet. Rookie's lights flickered as the sand at the monolith's base parted. From the crevice emerged a column of emerald energy, spiraling upward to breach the sky. The air crackled with static, and Alara felt a tremor in her bones, an echo of something vast awakening. Suddenly, before her stood a spectral figure, tall, lithe, draped in layered robes that shimmered like liquid starlight. Its eyes, 2 pinpoints of brilliant white, bore into Alara's very soul dot in a voice that reverberated through her mind rather than her ears. The apparition spoke in an alien tongue, ancient and musical. Alara's translator parsed the cadence into her native English. Humankind approaches the threshold of creation and destruction alike. Tread lightly, for your ambition will rend the cosmic weave. The figure raised one hand, and a cascade of symbols rippled through the beam's core, visions of worlds torn asunder, stars collapsing into black voids, civilizations lost to silence. Before Alara could respond, the energy beam collapsed inward, the figure dissipating into motes of light that scattered across the dunes. The monolith's glyphs glowed one last time before fading into stony dormancy. Silence blanketed the desert once more, save for the low hum of Rookie's backup power. Shaken, Alara gathered her composure and recorded every detail. Primary artifact, Archer Monolith 47A, prophetic glyphs reference Terran origin. Energy emission at 8:17 local time. Encountered sentient projection content. Warning of catastrophic breach. Transmission logs streamed up to the Astra Veritas in real time. Moments later, the survey vessel's shuttle bay doors opened in the distance. Captain Jade Renshaw strode across the sands, boots kicking up dust as she approached. Her brow was furrowed. She had seen Alara's data spike even before arriving. Behind the captain, Ambassador Keel of the Valkyrie hovered on levitator discs, antennae twitching with concern. The Valkyrie's gossamer wings folded neatly behind a chitinous carapace, and his multifaceted eyes regarded the monolith warily. Captain Renshaw crossed her arms. "Report," Alara swallowed. "The glyphs predate any known civilization by over 30 millennia. They explicitly name humanity and warn that our technological ambitions could unravel the cosmos." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Ambassador Keel's wings emitted a low, resonant hum, a Valkyrie sign of deep unease. Keel translated the glyphic prophecy back into the Valkyrie tongue, his voice a series of rapid clicks and trills. The captain's reply was terse but firm. "We cannot ignore this. Elan's tests in the Theta Quadrant commence in 2 weeks. If there's even a chance our experiments are triggering unstable rifts, we must investigate." Ilara nodded, though inside she trembled. The ancient warning had transcended time and space to reach her, and now the burden of proof, and perhaps the fate of countless worlds, rested on her shoulders. As the twin suns dipped below Arker's horizon, painting the desert in blood-red hues, she vowed to unravel this mystery. For in the heart of the monolith's prophecy lay the future of humanity and the fragile balance of the cosmos itself. Asterisk, the Interstellar Council chamber on Nova Meridian gleamed with polished crystal and bioluminescent flora. Its high domed ceiling arched overhead, a living canvas of slowly shifting nebulae that reminded every delegate of the cosmos they governed. Today, that cosmos felt fragile. High Commissioner Marta Fung of Earth rose from her seat at the semicircular dais, her cobalt sash catching glints of starlight. Around her sat envoys from dozens of worlds: the skyborn Aryans, the subterranean Gravok, the telepathic Siran, and, notably, Chancellor Saraluna of the Oryxian Cluster, a faction known for its mathematical rigor and suspicion of human unpredictability. "Esteemed delegates," Fung began, voice clear and unwavering, "we have received evidence of an ancient prophecy discovered on Arker's desert world. Monolithic glyphs dating back over 30,000 years specifically name humanity as a catalyst for cosmic disruption." A murmur ran through the chamber. Chancellor Saraluna's crystalline eyes narrowed. "Prophecy is insufficient proof," she intoned. "Human technology is advanced, but not omnipotent. We require concrete data, not myth." She tapped, a slender finger on the crystalline console before her. Holographic charts of recent quantum drive tests flickered to life. "Show us the anomalies." Fung nodded and summoned Admiral Joss Varric of Earth's Defense Fleet to the floor. Varric stepped forward, military bearing at odds with the Council's genteel atmosphere. "In the last 6 months," he said, "we have observed 16 microsingularity events in the Theta Quadrant, localized space-time distortions coinciding with experimental pulse drives tested at the Hyperion Station complex." He gestured, and a hollow projection displayed swirling eddies of light forming then collapsing in simulated space. If scales remain unchecked, these rifts could cascade, destabilizing entire star systems. Chancellor Saraluna's lip curled. "And how do we know these anomalies result from human tests rather than natural phenomena?" At that moment, Ambassador Keel of the Valkyrie floated forward on his levitator disc. His iridescent wings cast shifting patterns on the floor. "The Valkyrie have monitored cosmic ley energies for millennia," he rasped. "These rifts align precisely with the locus points marked on the Nalthur monolith's star chart. Furthermore, our ethereal readings show a synchrony between human drive activations and energy spikes in the ley grid." He produced a slender data crystal, offering it to Fung. Translation attached. Fung accepted the crystal and addressed the chamber. "We face an unprecedented risk." The ancient sentinel's warning on Arker was not idle dramatization. It was a plea for foresight. She paused, scanning the assembly. "Therefore, I propose the formation of the Humania Accord, a joint task force of scientists, etherealists, and mathematicians empowered to fully investigate these anomalies, decode the prophecy's deeper meaning, and develop safeguards before the next drive test." A hush fell. Then, from the Saren delegation, Envoy Mary Laud H spoke in soft telepathy, her voice echoing inside every mind. "I sense fear. Yes, but also potential. If these rifts can be stabilized, the same technology may grant us new pathways to explore the galaxy without harming it." Her words, gentle yet resonant, shifted the mood. Chancellor Saraluna exhaled, her mandibles clicking. "Very well. Let us ensure the task force includes rigorous, transparent oversight. Humanity's destiny may be grand, but we will not gamble our worlds on prophecy alone. With a unanimous, save for one abstention by a skeptical Gravok delegate vote, the Council formalized the Humania Accord. The session adjourned in a flurry of data exchanges and whispered debates. In the corridors, delegates paused before holoreplicas of the Archer monolith, its glyphs projected in iridescent light, a silent reminder of stakes far beyond politics. Later, in a private strategy chamber, High Commissioner Feng, Admiral Varric, Ambassador Keel, and Chancellor Sara Luna convened around a circular table. Data crystals clinked against polished glass as tasks were assigned. Volcari etherealists would refine the mapping of ley energy flows and correlate them with the monolith star charts. Orixian mathematicians would model the stability thresholds of spacetime under quantum drive loads. Human engineers would modify pulse drive parameters to conduct controlled, minimal-impact tests. Xenorchaeologists, led by Dr. Alara Miles, joining remotely from Archer, would translate the remaining glyph sequences and recover deeper prophecy layers. Feng closed her datapad and looked each member in the eye. We stand at the edge of discovery and calamity. Let us prove that humanity can honor creation as much as we pursue advancement. Above them, the hollow ceiling swirled, galaxies, drifting past in silent testament, countless worlds, each now tied to the outcome of the Humania Accord. And somewhere, in the uncharted depths of space, ancient watchers awaited Earth's next move. The shuttle's grav drives whined as it pierced the sulphurous haze of Nalder, Calyx Prime shattered moon. Jagged fragments of crust, some the size of islands, floated in the sickly yellow sky, tethered by fractured gravity. Inside, Dr. Alara Miles checked her rebrother interface. Toxin levels were off the charts, but her suit's filters would hold for the hour they needed. Behind her, Admiral Joss Varrick's Marine escort loaded stabilization charges, and Ambassador Keel's levitator discs hummed in anxious harmony. They stepped onto a platform of fractured obsidian, each footfall echoing across the hollow air. The Volcari etherealists unfurled a crystalline net that danced above the ground, detecting ambient ley energy and mapping its flow. The currents here are chaotic, Keel rasped, antennae quivering as spectral filaments of power snapped around them. But they converged toward that spire. He pointed toward a spiraling tower of translucent rock, streaked with rivers of molten andesite dot. Inside the spire lay the archive chamber. A collapsed ceiling let streams of greenish light fall across ruined holopods and shattered databanks. Yet at the center, and probably intact, stood a dais inscribed with the same radial glyph Alara had seen on Archer's monolith. She knelt, placing a data crystal from her pack into a triangular receptacle. The floor vibrated. Fissures spread like glowing veins, and the dais split open to reveal a holographic sphere of silver-blue light. Within the sphere spun dozens of interconnected lines, cosmic ley lines, as the ancient text had called them, tracing a hidden skeleton of energy that tied dimension to dimension. Alara's mind raced. These were the conduits that sustained reality, and human quantum pulses had been severing strands. Chancellor Sara Luna's voice crackled in her com. Proceed with caution. We cannot damage what we don't fully understand. A low hum crescendoed into a mechanical growl as a guardian stirred. It emerged from the shadows, its form a fusion of living bone and alloy, sinews of fiber-optic cable snaking beneath a carapace of obsidian plating. Multi-jointed limbs clicked as it approached, sensors glowing a cold teal. Ambassador Keel bowed. In Volcari custom, it demands proof of intent. Admiral Varric stepped forward, offering a sealed datasphere containing humanity's accumulated records, art, philosophy, ethical treaties, and the protocols for safe quantum drive operation. The Guardian's eye stalks rotated, scanning each byte. Then, with a resonant thrum, It stepped aside, granting them access to the sanctum beyond. Within that final chamber lay a towering pillar of living crystal, facets shifting with an inner light. Elara placed her hands on its smooth surface. Instantly, visions flooded her, the ancients forging and dismantling worlds, threads of possibility splintering through collapsed timelines, and the moment they realized they had overreached, a final message formed in the crystal's heart, a glyph that translated in her mind as plainly as speech. Heed this knowledge. Balance is the fulcrum of power. Use the ley lines to heal, not to dominate. The crystal's glow dimmed, leaving them in hushed awe. In that silent chamber, amid the ruins of a civilization undone, Dr. Elara Miles understood the true weight of the prophecy. It was not only a warning, but a charge. And with that revelation, the fate of countless worlds now lay in human hands. The council chamber on Nova Meridian thrummed with anticipation as the Humania Accord prepared to activate its first stabilization array. In the center of the vast hall, technicians from Earth unspooled crystalline conductors harvested from Nulthur. Valkyrie etherealists wove luminous threads of ley energy, and Erection mathematicians keyed in final algorithms. Above them, the hollow ceiling swirled with the map of the cosmic ley lines, now overlaid with projected fields of influence and nodes awaiting calibration. High Commissioner Marta Fung pressed her palm to the central console. "Begin sequence," she ordered. A hush fell. From the array's core, ribbons of silver-blue light lanced outward, tracing the ley lines through the Theta Quadrant. As the beams anchored to distant anchor points, the eddies and rifts Admiral Varric had charted began to shimmer and collapse inward, healing instead of fracturing. The air in the chamber rippled with relief, ripples of reality knitting back together. On the Astral Ring observation station, Dr. Elara Miles watched the stabilization metrics climb. Leyline flux is stabilizing at 87%. She reported, voice awash with exhilaration. Ambassador Keel's antennae fluttered in a Valkyrie sign of joy. Chancellor Saraluna tapped her console, eyes alight. Absolute stability threshold reached. The rifts are sealed. Moments later, the holomap across the ceiling formed one final pattern. The monolithic glyph from Archer and Nulthur merged into a single symbol of harmony, a circle of 3 radial lines converging in perfect balance. As the delegates gazed upward, the array's energy coalesced into a gentle pulse, sending a wave of resonant frequencies across the council's biodome. In every mind, a quiet voice spoke. Trust upheld. Balance restored. May your ambition forever be guided by wisdom. It was the echo of the ancient sentinel's message, carried across eons to affirm that humanity, once warned as a harbinger of destruction, had chosen creation. In the days that followed, the Humania Accord formalized new protocols. All future quantum drive tests would require multiracial oversight, dynamic stabilization safeguards, and an open archive of leyline research accessible to every species. Ships bore the unified glyph on their hulls, an emblem of shared responsibility. Back on Earth, as Dr. Miles stepped onto a verdant hill overlooking the Pacific, she reflected on the journey from Archer's silent sands to Nulthur's broken spires, and finally here, where humanity stood welcomed among the stars. The twin moons of Mars hung low in the sky, and she smiled, knowing that the ancient prophecy had not been a curse, but a guide, a reminder that true power lies not in dominion, but in the unity of diverse hands weaving the cosmic tapestry together.